Meteorologist Brianna Mowry with News 19. We're tracking possible tropical or hurricane impacts across the Midlands as we head into the beginning of next week. We have weather impact alert days from Monday to Wednesday of next week. We could see 3 to 6 inches of rainfall and wind gusts upwards of 60 to 70 miles per hour, depending on that track. And we are going to dive into the latest forecast track that just came out here at 5 o'clock. Also, the best way to get those updates always here online, WLTX.com, WLTX Plus, and on air. But looking out there right now, this is where Tropical Depression 9 is. It's still hard to tell where the center is, but it is continuing to develop. Right now, the latest advisory at 5 o'clock showed winds around 35 miles per hour, pressure still over 1,000 millibars, but if that continues to drop, that is a sign that the system is strengthening. It's still just northwest of the eastern tip of Cuba, where the center of that low will be. We're also watching Umberto, and although we're not expecting to get direct impacts from Umberto, it could influence what will become Imelda, which is the one that could impact us. So the latest advisory on Umberto shows it as a Category 5 hurricane, so very strong. The pressure, 925 millibars compared to the 1,005 on what we're tracking for that will become Imelda. So this one is much, much stronger. Thankfully, we're not going to be dealing with this one, but it could pull Imelda back out to sea, which actually would be good news. But here's the latest path. Going to move northward along the southeast United States coast. We do have tropical storm warnings up across the Bahamas, tropical storm watch along the Florida coast, the eastern Florida coast, and into parts of Georgia. But the path is going to stall as it gets to South Carolina by Monday or Tuesday, looking like now a little later on Tuesday, and it will be a Category 1 hurricane as it stalls. But then it's going to get pulled back out to sea. That's what the latest forecast is showing by Hurricane Humberto, which we just looked at, is a strong Category 5. And because it has gotten stronger, that's allowing Humberto to have a little bit of a stronger pull on what will become Imelda, Tropical Depression 9. So if we look at those, the path again of Humberto, it is well far, but it is close enough to what will be Imelda to pull it out to sea, and it's expected to curve out Humberto away from the U.S. So that is why it could pull Imelda away. Here's those two tracks side by side and the sea surface temperatures. And if you look, both systems are in very warm water. Hurricane Humberto is in waters that are about 84 to 86 degrees. That's allowed it to strengthen to a Category 5 hurricane, and it's going to move into even warmer waters by the end of the weekend, pushing 88 degrees. If we look at potential tropical depression 9, it is moving into some pretty warm water as well, 90-degree water down in the Bahamas right now. For development to occur, water temperatures need to be at 80 degrees or higher. So water out there, the water temperatures, not an issue. They are plenty warm enough for both of these systems to strengthen, and which they both are expected to. Looking at tropical storm wind chances, of course, winds from Humberto not going to impact us, but we could see some breezy conditions in parts of South Carolina from Imelda. So if we get a closer look on South Carolina, this is Sunday, still not seeing any winds, but by Monday into Tuesday morning, that's when we could begin to see some pretty breezy conditions, even here in the Midlands. Maybe not quite tropical storm wind in the Midlands. That chance is very low, only around 5%, but areas along the coastline could see a higher chance of tropical storm winds, maybe closer to 40 or 50% chance of tropical storm wind chances as we get into, again, Monday night into early Tuesday. Now, if we look at the hurricane winds, these are less likely, but still important to look at. Of course, much more of a tighter space as the most intense winds are closer to the center of the storm. So looking at closer to South Carolina on that one. Here in the Midlands, the good news, we're not expecting any hurricane force winds, and they look to stay just off the coast at even the lowest chance. So only a 5% chance just off the coast of hurricane force winds. Definitely some good news there. This really isn't going to be a big wind event. It's looking more like a rainfall event, which is even something that's definitely the thing to watch out for. So here's our excess rainfall outlook for today. Now, the rainfall we have out there today not related to any tropical systems. This is from a stalled frontal boundary that moved through yesterday. So we still have those scattered showers out there today. That does lead to a little bit of a flood threat, a marginal risk, level 1 out of 4. Localized flash floods possible, mainly in those areas that are low lying and already prone to flooding or runoff, or that don't have great drainage. But if we look ahead at Sunday, that flood threat almost goes away, which is good news. So we will get a drier day on Sunday. But Monday, the flood threat goes back up and it increases as Imelda approaches. So we have a level 2 out of 4 flood threat on Monday for the eastern half of the Midlands. The western half is still included in that marginal threat for flooding. So everyone has a risk for flooding on Monday. Some a little higher than others. Of course, it's higher closer east toward the coast. But looking ahead at Tuesday, that flood threat continues for a second day, and even more areas included in that slight risk in the Midlands. Most of the Midlands are in that slight risk for Tuesday, which still means flash floods will be isolated to or localized, but we could see a few, more than just 1 or 2, and more areas could get those floods. Now, if we look at specific rainfall totals, again, this is not going to be a huge wind event. It's really the rainfall that we're watching. Those rainfall totals have shifted a little bit as the track changes, and that will continue to change as we see the latest model runs and the latest updates in the coming days ahead of Imelda's impact. But looking at the totals that we have, or the total forecast we have now from the Weather Prediction Center, areas in the upstate could get 1 to 2 inches. Here in the Midlands, we're looking at about 1.5 to 2.5 inches. If you're in the far eastern Midlands, maybe Clarendon, Orangeburg County, you could get closer to 3 or 4 inches. So in the Midlands, a general 2 to 4 inches of rainfall expected. If you're toward the coast, you could see closer to 4 to 6 inches. So the good news is these rain totals have trended down a little bit as the path has moved away from the Midlands. So definitely a little bit of encouragement there, but still not letting our guard down and preparing for heavy rainfall, because 2 to 4 inches of rain could certainly still cause some issues. Now, looking at the hurricane frequency, we're past the peak point of hurricane season. We're still in those peak months where the water is the warmest and we get the most development. Hurricane season started on June 1st. The peak day was September 10th. Now, September is still the peak month, but we are at the end of September. As we head into October, activity is going to decline as those water temperatures cool down too much for much development. But it's still possible to get plenty of systems in October. It's happened, but the Atlantic hurricane season will end on November 30th. So we're still in that point of hurricane season where activity is pretty frequent, and we've actually been a little behind average as far as when we get certain storms or certain named storms. We're seeing a little bit quieter activity than typical seasons, but we are definitely seeing some activity now. Looking at those tropical headlines, right now we have, it's actually not potential tropical cyclone 9, it's now tropical depression 9. By Sunday, it's expected to become a tropical storm. Could be late tonight. We're definitely going to watch out for that on the next update from the National Hurricane Center. But the southeast, if you're anywhere in the southeast, really, you need to be staying weather aware, keeping close eye on the system, watching out for those updates. Again, not really a wind event for us in the Midlands. It's the rainfall we've got to watch out for. So if you're going to plan for anything, plan for heavy rainfall. Here's another look at the path of Imelda as we head into the end of this update. But here we are, tropical depression at 5 o'clock. Winds again 35 miles per hour, gusts of 45. It's moving very slow. It's only moving northwest at 5 miles per hour, so it is taking a little bit of time to develop. Again, it's going to push to the north. By Monday afternoon, it will be off the coast of Florida. We do have tropical storm warnings in the Bahamas, as well as a tropical storm watch along the eastern Florida coast. It will continue to push to the north before taking a sharp turn to the east, and that turn is because Umberto is going to pull it back out to sea. At least that's what's expected right now. Models are trending more and more like that will be the likely scenario, which if that does happen, that's going to lessen our rainfall impacts. But again, don't let your guard down. We could still get significant rainfall from this system because it is expected to stall or pretty much stop and slow down as it gets close to the South Carolina coast. By the middle of the week, it does begin to pull away, And that is the latest update. This just was out at 5 o'clock. We are going to continue to bring you the latest as we get those updates here on WLTX Plus, as well as on air and online. Again, I'm meteorologist Brianna Mowry.